Greetings! Welcome to the devlog for hot dogs, horseshoes, and hand grenades. We're going to start off as always with a quick sound check. Make sure your speakers aren't up too high. Wonderful. So what have we got for you this week? Well, we have some continued work on Systems 4 Return of the Rotwieners, and so I'd like to introduce you to this pile of garbage. This is the banger crafting system. Basically, the way that custom explosives are going to work in Return of the Rotwieners is that you're going to be able to use collections of, well, junk and almost every object in the entire game to make makeshift explosives for fighting Rotwieners. So how does this whole system work? Well, there are basically two core types of objects, containers and mechanisms, that can be combined to create our 12 base types. There's basically a small, a medium, and a large container, a tin can, a coffee can, and a bucket. And then there are 4 mechanisms that imbue our custom explosive with its primary use case. And those are boxes of bang snaps, turn it into an impact explosive. A fish finder turns it into a proximity explosive. A radio sets it to a remote explosive, which I don't have working yet because I'm still waiting on a detonator model. And a egg timer, which turns it into a timed explosive. So you might be asking, with all of that, what can we put in a banger? Well, the answer to that is almost everything. And there's a bit of cartoon logic at play here, but I figured that would be the most fun. So let's start with something simple here. Let's start with a tin can into our whiz-bang-a-dinger. And, I don't know, let's just make this an impact explosive. So we could put a box of bang snaps in there, so that's the mechanism. And for a tin can, we can put up to 2 pieces of payload. So I've got these for demonstration. So we're going to put our impact grenade. I know that's a bit redundant with the bang snaps. And say a magazine full of cartridges for some shrapnel. Close that there. Boom! Custom explosive. So we have an arming switch on here, and our bang snaps let us know that this is an impact explosive. So we're going to walk over here. We're going to arm it, and then throw it. Boom! I've got bullet trails on, so you can see here. Now, by default, the shrapnel velocity of any sort of rounds that you put into a banger are lower than they would come out of their respective weapon, but we can actually increase that once again by through our crafting system. So if I grab myself 2 spare 1911s here, let's upgrade to a larger container. So if you grab say a coffee can here, grab some bang snaps, shrapnel, explosive, and throw 2 guns in there as well. As we know, guns make bullets go faster, so by putting more guns into our explosive, all of our shrapnel will go faster. Boom! There we go. Much straighter initial trajectories, which will of course make our shrapnel do more damage. Wonderful. What else can we do? What else can we do? Well, let's play with some more of our cartoon logic. Let's say you wanted to make a sticky bomb. We could do that as well. Let's put a different mechanism here. Let's put our egg timer in, and let's see, what could we use to make this stick to things? Well, why, a rail adapter, of course. Boom! Wander back over here. Let's see, let's wind up our device. About 8 seconds should do. Arm it. Oh dear, it's ticking down. It sticks to that wall there. Come back here. Boom! And it explodes. Wonderful. Let's see, what else? Ooh, we can do a proximity explosive. That would be fun. So let's put, see, what order do I want to do this in? I think I'll probably, let's spawn a few Sosa guns so they think to pick them up. Let's grab a few Sosigs here. Let's tell them to wander. So I'll just go about their business, hopefully. And let's make ourselves a proximity explosive. So let's start with a bucket. Well, the bucket barely fits, so we might want to actually just put our stuff in it. So let's put a fish finder in here.
I should get a boat.
I know, you really should.
Weird, thinking about all the terrible coating mistakes.
Put our stuff in here, and we want to be able to... A bucket is pretty heavy, which means when we make an explosive from it, our throw distance isn't really far.
I'm really
so
glad they let
let's put some scopes in there to increase its range,
Go
which
to the
will
next
let us
wander point, the state machine said.
throw further. Beautiful.
Catch up. I just can't quit you.
Prox explosive. Let's wait till they start.
Real tiring standing at
Oh,
attention.
what are you doing? You are just...
Positive this is where I left my
You're
keys.
just asking for it, Buster. Anywho, let's just put this over here.
Man, this part of the level's kind of bland.
Oh, and there we go. One of them set it off. Wasn't quite close enough. I might have the proximity range there set a little too long. That was disappointing. That was very disappointing. Ah, still much to do. Much to do. Let's try a sticky grenade against an actual Sosig. I haven't actually tried this yet.
Meat really gave me the creeps.
So, this might break, no promises. Cool, egg timer. Let's make it sticky.
To get a better run, my butt.
Bam!
Man,
Here we go.
This part of the level's kind of bland.
Oh, well, yeah, well, you're bland, mister. This is just me arguing with my wieners. And... Okay. Ah, there we go.
Need to get a better bun. My back's been killing me.
Do, 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 do.
Dang it!
Oh! Definitely having a bad day. That's what you get for back talk, bots.
My keys.
And let's see what else. Oh, yes! We've got some more cartoon logic. We can also, let's use our last coffee can here. We can also use a reflex sight to, oh, we need a mechanism. We need a mechanism. Prox explosive. We can use this to make this a bouncy bomb.
I wonder what kind of meat I'll be next time.
Might have to tweak the might have to tweak the friction on that. Woo! That got my heart going. I don't actually know quite why that exploded. I don't think it should have detected an agent bot body that close. We will have to figure out what's going on there later. So yeah, so that should give you an idea of what you can do with this system. I am in the process of building an incredibly annoying table of basically every object type in the game so that they do something when added to one of these. Oh, and of course, I need to actually add an explosion sound when the only thing that detonates in them is shrapnel. Still much to do, but hopefully you can see the promise in such a system and the flexibility and creativity it affords you in making ridiculous explosives. Anywho, let's jump back out of VR now and talk about the other stuff that I am working on for Rotwainers. Yo! So I hope you're excited about playing around with that system. To go with it, basically you should know that for this Rotwainers rework, I am reconstructing / rebalancing the ecosystem and essentially all of the crafting and item acquisition systems that interface with it. So one of the core changes is that instead of there being one type of meat core that drops from every type of enemy just at different rates, there will in fact be 8 different types of meat cores that of course have a whole bunch of strange names to them and really distinctive looks. Tasty, moldy, spiky, zippy, etc. And so you're going to have to get the different types of cores, both for crafting systems and for purchasing things, in different parts of the map from different types of enemies. So whereas in the prior system, basically you could just pick a camping point at an arbitrary part of the map just to get a single type of currency. This new system should actually pull you to different parts of the map at different sort of stages in the equipment curve in what I hope to be a more interesting and intentional way. So yeah, in addition to that, the way that purchasing things at the various stores, the two that you've already encountered, the gun store and the pawn store, and a third one, which I had planned but had never implemented, which is a general store, will be more of the way to think about it is that it's as though you are permanently unlocking a very narrow take and hold item pool. So say you go into the general store and there is an option there for, say, a muzzle brake. What will happen is that you will have to unlock that once during a run by feeding the specific types of meat cores that object needs. So it might be something like 2 zippy meat cores and a tasty meat core. And then once you do that, from now on when you play, you can go by the general store and pick up a muzzle brake for either use on your weapon or in the banger crafting system. And each of the 3 stores will have, I think I have planned about 8 different things that you can unlock with various sorts of combinations, in addition to whatever their rewards are for their quests. And then in addition to that, I have changed the way that reload-o-matics work, in part because I had always limited the sort of Rotwieners didn't use the full selection of firearms in H3, especially some of the stranger and more fun ones, in part because each reload-o-matic was servicing a specific type of ammo, and so I just needed a preposterous amount of them because it's like 44 types of cartridges in the game, and calibers of cartridges, not to mention the subtypes. I have changed reload-o-matics to work more similarly to take and hold, in that you can either place a magazine or a speed loader or an actual firearm in the bay. It will detect it and then display what cartridge it's now dispensing. And the way that will work with quest unlocks is that by default, a reload-o-matic will dispense the default subtype for that cartridge, usually FMJ. But in the case of, say, the bartender's mission, that as you destroy Rotwiener nests, you get access to extra ammo types, extra reload-o-matics will spawn that will have a random non-default ammo type. And this will vary from run to run. So some runs, when you say you've already completed the bartender's missions or the prepper's missions, and you go by their location, there will be 2 or 3 other reload-o-matics there. But say for 12 gauge ammo on one run, you might get Dragon's Breath, Triple Hit, and Slugs. In another run, you might get Freedom Fetty and Flares and Swag 12 HE. So you'll still be able to get other sorts of subtypes, except now the system will be able to support subtypes for anything that you feed into them. So hopefully, the whole goal here is to increase the amount of equipment that you can use in this mode, keeping the rewards meaningful, but also giving you a few more opportunities to top up on ammo, as I discovered from Take and Hold that really is, if I'm limiting how much you can carry, I do need to give you more opportunities to be able to top up whatever it is that you're carrying, just to keep things interesting and to prevent an unnecessary amount of transit back to the beginning point in the level. So yeah, so that should just about do it for now. Obviously, I'm working on tons of other systems, but those are the ones that I wanted to update you folks on. For each thing that you see, like the explosive system that I can show off to you, there's tons of back-end work that I'm doing as I'm tearing out wires and hoping I can stitch them back together for this mode. So I will hopefully have some more exciting stuff to show you folks next week as this gets on. I might have a first alpha, not for Rotwieners, but for some of these new systems for you folks to play with next Friday, but no promises. I am, up until the release of this mode, I am privileging focusing on working on the mode instead of getting even an alpha release out, because even even if I put a bunch of asterisks next to it and be like, this is unstable and incomplete, it still functionally burns like 2 days of my time to actually get a release together. And right now, time is precious for me to get this mode rework done in time for Halloween. So I'm prioritizing the mode instead of a bunch of really frequent alpha releases prior to it. So, but I will, of course, keep you folks up to date on when I think I will have at least a system alpha for those of you who are interested to play with it early. So, anywho, I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and I will talk to y'all soon. Peace.